Welcome to the new podcast, episode number 56. My name is Steven. I am joined as always by producer and co-host extraordinaire Kelly, my man. Let's get to it. What a week we had. The conclusion of the Rugby World Cup was fucking amazing. It did not disappoint. Obviously with the Halloween this weekend. Yeah, Halloween. Man, did we ever have a good Halloween. Kids got a great haul. The shitty thing was that the same night was Crown Jewel, which was an amazing show as well. Obviously with the conclusion of the CFL regular season, NFL mid-season, and one hell of a UFC event. A bit controversial, but we had a great UFC event nonetheless. I did enjoy it. I really did enjoy it. Let's talk some MMA news. First, before I want to get into the Rugby World Cup, though, before we get into some MMA news here, man, was it fucking amazing. Did not disappoint. I want to quickly touch base on it just because of how good it was, Kelly. Man, was it worth the watch. These guys put everything on the line. South Africa put on one hell of a show against a very tough England team. It was amazing, man. And what the coolest thing about Kelly was all about, I think that's my most favorite part of rugby, is the scrum. You know what I mean? You get the two teams, biggest dudes up front, medium dudes in behind them, and then huge dudes as the anchors, and then just smashing them like a ram, together. I just love that the most. And South Africa had won 4 in a row scrums where they had just tore England up. It was just crazy. So they kind of set the pace right off the bat. And rugby is so cool, Kelly, whereas if the one team just destroys you in the scrum, just steamrolls you, which doesn't happen. These guys are the best of the best. You get a penalty. If you get steamrolled in the scrum, you actually get penalized, and the other team gets a free kick. You know what I mean? So not only that, it's like such a man sport. It was like, nah, you lost. Not only that, you get penalized for losing and being such a bum. You know what I mean? It was crazy. It was crazy. Huge dudes were in this, man, especially on the England side. Huge ass dudes. But on this game, I think what it was such a high pace. Everyone was running their hearts out the whole game. They knew what was on the line, and that was to be engraved into rugby royalty and winning that. The kicks in the game, the strategy I saw on this, I had not seen in another game before. Everyone was pulling out all the strategy and just kicking to the other team in hopes that you can get a turnover or smash them or push them back, and relying on your defense it was just insane. These guys were running with crazy intent just to murder each other. Most exciting game I've ever watched. Easily the most exciting rugby game I've ever watched before was this one here. And man, was it just nonstop from whistle to whistle. Was it great? But it came down. I think it came down to the speed and the strength of South Africa. They really had a good mixture, Kelly, where England was a lot of big dudes and then huge dudes. You know what I mean? Like they're normally like your kicker. I think he's called like the skiff or something like that. He's like normally the guy kicking the field goals for you, right? Because it's more of a finesse part, right? He'll be at the end of your line, like as the speed guy, right? So he'll be the last guy that gets shoveled to the pass. That's why I didn't really see in this game was this traditional, firing it down the line. These guys were being creative and doing different moves and really kicking it a lot. And the English guy was huge. Like their smallest guy was way bigger than South Africa had 2 really small guys. They were like probably like the size of us, normal dudes, right? But they had some giants on their team, like guys that were like easy like 7 foot, like 6'8" dudes. You know what I mean? Just monsters of men. And these little dudes who really had turned the tide. There was one little dude who broke a huge tackle for South Africa in the end, and scored a try. It was just amazing. But the strength and the speed of South Africa was what it was all about. And man, was it ever a really, really good game. I was on my edge of my seat the whole time because it was really close too. It was really, really close where England wasn't giving up. That's the thing. They came back there to challenge a little bit. South Africa came out to an early lead with all the penalties by England. And there was a few controversial calls by the ref, but I think at the end of the day, you really have to put the points up, and that's what they didn't do. And South Africa just had better chances and made the most of their opportunities. It was a great game. Now let's talk some MMA news, Kelly. one thing with the Crown Jewel wrapping up and Tyson Fury walking away with $15 million, he now is saying, "Hey, I'll fight MMA. I'll fight MMA." Yeah, I guess he's been training with Conor McGregor. Him and Conor McGregor became friends. Conor invited him over to his gym to train a little bit. We haven't heard anything from Conor McGregor saying, "Oh, this guy's the real deal" or anything like that. And watching him in the ring at Crown Jewel, he wasn't he wasn't clumsy. I'll give him that. Like, he did look good even for a wrestling match. A guy never wrestled before. He actually didn't look terrible. But I don't know. Calling, and not only saying, "Hey, I want to fight in MMA," just basically saying, who's the champ of UFC? Oh, Stipe Miocic. Yeah, I want to fight him. So saying, "I want to fight him. I want to fight Francis Ngannou." Crazy move. Is it just talk though, Kelly, or do you see anything behind it?
Oh, I think he wants to come over. But
Wow.
I think these crossover sports guys, what I think they should do is take a lesson from rugby. And if you lose, they should get penalized with a free kick.
Wow. Like to the nuts? Is that
whatever.
To the nuts?
Just
Okay.
kick him anywhere. Like,
You have to negotiate. You got to negotiate that in your contract.
Yeah.
You got where are you gonna get kicked? Oh, if I lose, I'm gonna get kicked in the balls. That's fucking another 15 mil at least.
And that's Mark Hunt's doing it.
Wow. Well, it's not a terrible kick. You know what I mean? If it was a punch to the nuts, I'd be more worried. You know what I mean? At least it's a kick I could take. You know what I mean? That's hilarious. I don't know, though. Francis Ngannou or Stipe? You know what I mean? Stipe's wrestling right off the bat. No, I don't see him having a chance against Stipe. I don't see him having a chance at all. But against Francis Ngannou, I think that actually could be a good fight. But do you think the small gloves would be like something that obviously changed the fight? You know what I mean? With the Gypsy King, he made his name bare knuckle boxing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? In the streets of the UK. You know what I mean? Does the 4-ounce gloves or the small gloves, does that help him out?
That's a great question. I think you have to change your style a little bit depending on what size gloves you're wearing. I really don't know how much it affects his fighting. I think the kicks, if anything, would
good call, man. Yeah,
as we saw with Beck Rawlings last fight in
Woo.
Bellator.
Yeah, kicks especially. I think that's the thing is his legs. You can tell Tyson Fury is massive. He's 6'8". You know what I mean? Yeah. You can tell. You know what I mean? He's a big dude, but his legs are pretty scrawny. He's got some pretty scrawny great legs. He's pretty huge though. I think that would be the biggest challenge for him. Wouldn't be the fighting. I think it's the weight cut. I think he weighs like 280 pounds. You know what I mean? He's a massive ass dude.
I think Shane Carwin was around that too.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah, Shane Carwin was gigantic for his size. He was super jacked up, and I guarantee that's how he lost a lot of his fights, was having to cut weight and just being so big in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know though. I like the move, and I accept the move. Welcome it even, but I just don't know how he would fare. Out of all the boxers right now, I think it's one of the ones that makes the most sense. Really, there's really not another big heavyweight. You know what I mean? Joshua and Wilder are okay, but kind of the heavyweight division right now in boxing, it's a bit of a joke.
Yeah, that might be why he wants to come over.
Huh.
I wonder what he could get paid.
A lot.
Yeah.
I bet you a lot, yeah. I don't know if UFC's have deep enough pockets for Tyson Fury. I think that's another thing too. You know what I mean? Maybe we see him go to Japan or something like that, take a less of a paycheck, but obviously it'd be a huge decline in competition. Mm-hmm. We'll find out. I'm excited for that move. One thing I really came out last week after UFC Singapore had wrapped up. Damian Maia, a dude who's normally quiet and very respectful, calls out Diego, the Nightmare Sanchez, at 170. I like that. I like that matchup. You know what I mean? I think it was more of a friendly call out. I think it's an easy fight for both of them. A dude who has one hell of an engine, though, Diego Sanchez. A guy who can put it on you at any round, first, second, or third. He's going to come at you. But does Diego see maybe his submission game far too superior for Diego to be able to handle? And does he get choked out or something like that, arm barred, something like that?
I honestly thought he retired.
Diego Sanchez? Yeah, I thought he did too. That's why I thought it was kind of a weird call-out, but I thought, hey, why not? I think it could be a good headline, like a lower end fight night or something like that. I think it's a matchup that makes sense to me, and why the hell not? I think maybe Damian still has a few paychecks left in him. I don't think he's making a ton when he fights UFC, but I think he's definitely making six figures a fight, and I think probably a win bonus. He probably has more incentives towards winning, so I think he could stand to make a good paycheck that night, or maybe put on a classic as Diego Sanchez brings out in people. Kind of want to just briefly touch base on some sad news this week with Walt Harris's fight being canceled against Alistair Overeem, and rightfully so, with the news of his missing stepdaughter. Super, super sad news coming out of Alabama. Everyone wants to try to find her. There's tons of information out there for people to be, if they know anything, and even John Jones and Dana White both putting up $100,000 for any information that leads to finding his stepdaughter. Really sad news, but hope they can find her, and Walt Harris can get it back, his mind back on track. It's really sad, you know what I mean? I couldn't imagine any dude who could fight underneath the stress of that. And Baby Slice, as Kelly had reported last week, thought that fight should have been overturned because of the head strikes to the elbow and the punches to the back of the head. And sure enough, they listened to the show. Kelly, they reversed it for you, man. Kelly's petition, the Baby Slice win, has been turned to no contest due to illegal strikes to the back of the head. That's just nuts. You don't see that too often, but it makes sense. No argument here, because there was a ton of them. At least a few elbows, at least a few punches right to the back of the skull, into the neck. Back of the head is one thing, but to the stem of the spine, that's a whole nother story. You know what I mean? Not many sports allow that. You know what I mean? And just for the reason that you could easily kill somebody. But we see that one get overturned. Do we see a rematch, or do we just see them both go their separate ways and call it a day? I think we just see the later, and they just both go their separate ways and call it a day.
I think Bellator was still counted as a win.
No, they actually did get overturned. Like,
I know, kind of like how in the UFC you can lose a fight. Even though like you do the better performance,
right?
You're winning it anyways, but it was like an accidental disqualification.
For sure, yeah.
And Dana's still like, I'm still gonna give him a better fight now.
Yeah, of course. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Of course. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Do you think that, that being said, do you think that those blows changed the fight? Do you think that dude was gonna win, or do you think the blows actually did finish it for him?
I think if he punched him in the head, like on the sides of the head, instead, he still would have won. Yeah, it's just he just did it illegally.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough to say, because he kind of was in and out of it, and after that first really nasty elbow, I think is when we saw him kind of start going limp. Yeah. You know what I mean? Tough to say, though. Exactly that. Like you said, Kelly, if it wasn't going to hit him there, it would have hit him on the side of the head, and it would have been lights out anyways, really.
Yeah. It's just,
Tonight's episode is brought to you by Northwest IPA Red Truck Brewing. Not bad. It's not bad. I'm drinking some right now. Good stuff. For an IPA, it's not too strong. It's actually quite mild for an IPA. Back on track here, folks. I think one of the biggest news signings of this week, Kat Zingano signing with Bellator. What a huge move for Bellator that is. It was well documented on the show how their talent division in the women's division has been not very good. And with now the signing of Cyborg, the signing of Kat Zingano, those are some big fucking names. Really like the move of Kat Zingano. Super, super game veteran, very tough, well-rounded fighter. Has had some bad luck, you know what I mean? Has had some bad luck, and I think mentally, hopefully she can get it all together, and I think it's outside of the ring. She's had some problems, and I think now she can get it all together and get focused on fighting again if that's what she wants to do with her life. And huge announcement for Bellator. Who she fights next is anyone's business. Where is she going to weigh in at? I think it's going to be make sense for her eventually to cross paths with Cyborg if they're both going to be in the same weight class. I couldn't see why they wouldn't be, and we see Bellator getting done, signing more women. Good for them. I really like the move. Not a ton of MMA news this week, obviously with the all the fights going down this weekend. You know, the hugest fight ever. You know what I mean? I think everyone was kind of quiet. All the fighters were minding their business and staying out of trouble. And but one of the biggest things, obviously, with The Rock having a huge appearance at the UFC this weekend, it was also announced, maybe it has something to do with it, that The Rock is going to be starring in a movie with Mark Kerr, the former heavyweight champ, Mark the Smashing Machine Kerr, and just one of those guys. You know what I mean? He already kind of has a movie about himself. It's more of a documentary about how he was on top of the world, and then fell on addiction, and now he's now he is what he is. Just a dude hanging on to life, and really cannot battle those demons. Some people just lose the battle, and then this is a perfect example of that. And I think it's a perfect example because Mark Kerr was just shredded. Hugely shredded, like he was just a beast, and I think The Rock would play him perfectly in this movie. And I think it's going to be cool for The Rock to bring his story out, to come to light. Like I said, maybe not many people have seen his the documentary, the Smashing Machine, and here we see The Rock come out with it. I'm really excited for this dude who's got his submission grappling is just amazing. He's beaten everybody in Abu Dhabi. With the likes of Josh Barnett. I remember that one. He just manhandled Josh Barnett. Back when Josh Barnett was super good, a few times. Mario Spiri, who's, one of the best grapplers in the world. Rico Rodriguez, he beat up in grappling as well. Just the dude was such a great grappler. Second to none, really. Let's see here. And just his record, just went from great to shit, unfortunately. Dude who just beating the crap out of everybody. It was all fucking knockouts. Look at this whole list, Kelly. His first, except for one, against Fabio Gurgel, who's one of the best grapplers in the world too. In a fight, he goes 11-0 with only one decision. That's going to get people's heads turning. And then what was it? He got no contest against Igor Vovchanchkin. Because he kneed him in the head when he was down on the ground. So, beating the crap out of him too. In Pride. Tons of Pride fights, obviously. And then losing to Fujita, oddly enough, by decision. But that's tough, fighting that tough of a dude in Japan too. But then we kind of see, unfortunately, a little bit of his downslide when he starts to get into drugs. It's just crazy. The dude was so touted, losing to Vovchanchkin, losing to Heath Herring, losing to Mike Whitehead, of all people. Who loses to Mike Whitehead? You know what I mean? Mustafa Al-Turk. And then the fight that I had seen him in, what the heck was it? This Yama Pit fighting. It was only one event ever. And it was a weird pit style. It was the original owners of the UFC started this organization. They only had one show. It was really cool though, because the edge of the ring was sloped up, and then there was the cage, right? So you kind of use this slope side to kind of really there was no real clinching because you couldn't really clinch up against the cage, and the slope side would actually help you out. And he ended up losing to Oleg Taktarov. So just dude had an up and down career, and who knows where, maybe he'll make a surprise appearance in the show, or maybe we'll see him come out and do some interviews or something like that. But apparently he's really gone. His brain is really gone still. Still alive, though. 50 years old. Fighting out of Toledo, Ohio. Kind of a cool story, though. If you haven't checked out the movies, check out those movies. Let's talk some video games. I played a ton of Orna this week. The update let me down. Boy, oh boy, did it ever. It's just the stupidest thing, Kelly, they did with it. They wanted to make PvP battles more interesting, right? They wanted to make it because people were super overpowered, and usually a PvP battle lasts 5 turns max. You know what I mean? I'll smash him, because whoever goes first, you can just really wallop the dude right off the bat, and really, probably most last 2 turns at max, because you just smash the dude twice, super hard. So they wanted to make PvP battles better. So they all they did was just double everyone's hit points when you go into a PvP battle. Now it's just fucking annoying. Because now, especially for people who are not casters, they can only really do their super powered attack that has a little bit of magic. They can only do 4 max, 2 to 4 max, and then you're out of mana. You know what I mean? I have a ton of mana because I'm a caster. But then these people are in mana, so it's just 2 dudes, and just one dude, you're just hacking him away at him with your sword, doing like next to no damage. Because you're both super tough with a ton of resistance.
Yeah.
So it's like the dumbest thing. That now, like, you could just be battling for like 15 minutes. It's ridiculous. So they've tweaked it a little bit, but it's still stupid. They just made the strong people super, super strong because they still have doubled their hit points. It makes no fucking sense at all. So it's like, now to take over spots from dudes, it's ridiculous because because everyone has so much hit points. It just doesn't make any sense. The only bad thing I can say about the game since I've been playing it since day one. But they did come up with some new classes, at least for Tier 9, and that's the thing. The Titan Guard is just stupidly good. They may come out with a Titan Guard is the new one they've come out with. It's just basically like an Atlas Vanguard, but you just have like all the same abilities, just times 10. The Omni Answer, which is, I may try out here. Obviously, it's just an upgrade to the Necromancer. Nyx is kind of like an assassin, the rogue style guy. They're pretty hard to hit, but they aren't unbeatable. That's the thing. They are pretty still beatable by me. And Bahamut, they release Great Leviathan, and that's about it for Tier 9. Tier 10 is going to be coming out soon. Still, they've done some good things where they've made it so you can get more experience. The raid bosses aren't as hard, so you can get more experience that way. Because it's just, I've leveled up a ton recently just because they have made it easier to get experience now. With that's one nice thing, though. It was kind of useless fighting just normal mob dudes unless it was a quest mob, just because the experience was piss. It was really nothing. So we're forced to just grind the raid bosses, and it could obviously become boring. So made the game a bit better that way, but I still need to tweak that because now it's just ridiculous. I can't take over any spots with that goddamn douchebag who owns the whole place because now he's got like double the hit points. So like it takes forever, and PvP battles, especially for taking over spots against tough other dudes, is not even worth my time anymore because it takes too long. It still takes too long, and it's like I don't want to spend 5-10 minutes in a battle. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Just want to move about my day. God damn it! But it just needs some tweaking. Crackdown 3, I finally got to play a lot of downloading it and playing a ton of it. Me and my son switching on it and playing over it. It's actually really, really fun, Kelly. Man, I don't know why. I think they must have had a bad review or something, because I remember when the reviews first came out, everyone's saying it's the same game. It's just the same game. So I was like, maybe I'll wait. I won't play it right now. I was excited for Crackdown 3 when the announcement came out, but I'll unfortunately listen to the naysayers. And it's actually a ton of fun. It's really a ton of fun. It is very similar to their games, and that's good. It was a great model. You don't need to change it. The shit they added was beautiful. The guns, Kelly. There's tons of guns, tons of them. So the storyline is that after the last place, everyone had the last place blew up because you were fighting these zombie things, if I can remember correctly. Everyone's just kind of on these ships to find sanctuary, and they find this place, but it actually isn't what it is. It's like a whole like island ruled by this dictator, and super mean. It has these different people, like she's polluting the world, and there's different factions of dudes you have to kill, and so that's kind of, you get to this place and you show up, and then they just vaporize you. Like you're with your team. It's Terry Crews is who you are. He's like the main character, which is kind of cool. And you show up in your drop ship, like you're just showing up there you got a distress signal, you show up there and they just vaporize you, kill your whole team, and like you're all messed up, but this girl saves you, and like you're half a body, and she saves you because she's part of the resistance on this island, so she saves you, and eventually so that's what the whole storyline, reason why you have to collect the power-ups is to get tougher, and that's the cool part. I've always liked about that part about the game, the searching, the treasure hunting of the game, of finding the different nodes of power-ups. There's secret ones, there's agility ones, and different things like that, so the way you switch guns is sweet. The amount of guns is super awesome. The fighting, they've upgraded the fighting, the enemies too. But that's what the cool part is, the enemies. It's a lot like Shadow of Mordor, where you have certain bosses of certain things, and you do enough to be able to challenge and have to draw that boss out. So you do different things. There's like a guy who's in charge of chemical plants. There's guys who's in charge of the police. So you got to take over a certain amount of spots. doing different things to take those spots over, and then eventually the leader will come out and you have to fight him. Kind of like Far Cry a little bit too. So that's really a lot of fun, taking over those spots. There's tons of different types of enemies too. That's really cool about it too. The enemies are really tough. Lots of them are very challenging. Some dudes have shields. Some dudes have like physical shields. Some dudes have like a force field shield. There's different giant robots, mechs, different shit you're fighting all the time, and most of them drop cool weapons, and you can take their weapon that they're using, which is a really cool thing. And differently, you can pick up, the stronger you get, the more you can beat up, the less punches it takes to kill something, and picking up huge tanks and throwing them at people is pretty damn fun. It really is, actually. And just doing different things. Every kind of place you got to take over is a little bit of a puzzle, and I can see like the longevity. It's not a game you're gonna play for months and months, you know what I mean? But it is a fun game, and I'm really glad I'm playing it right now, and can't wait to play some more of it. How about you, Kelly? How was Apex been coming?
I played a few games of that. Shadowfall. I got everything basically that I needed off the collectors, whatever. So I decided to help some of the people that haven't done it yet, and I just kind of dropped down, usually in the bunker. Normally people do that thing where they just like crouch up and down if they are friendly.
Right.
So, anybody who did that, I'd just team up with them.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, it's kind of fun. I played a few games of the squads. I haven't played any ranked last week, but I played a few games of the squads, and won a few times with that too.
Nice.
Usually, it just depends on your team and how cooperative they are, or if they're just one of those people that kind of just run around doing whatever. As soon as somebody leaves a group and just starts running around, I kind of know we're screwed. So. It's like a
shitty.
Yeah. Let's probably get back into WoW Classic next week.
Oh yeah, nice.
I really haven't played any. I'm kind of at a spot where I have to grind a little bit to level up so that I can actually do some more quests. So I'm kind of putting it to the side for now, because it's like, oh man, it's kind of like a chore.
Of course,
but, once you hit the level cap in the Classic, it's not going to go up. So that's a plus.
Yeah.
It's a reason to keep playing. But
was it going to level 80?
I think 60.
Oh, 60. Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. And what level are you now?
I'm only like level, I can't even remember, like 24.
Oh, wow.
Something. Yeah.
Long way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't played in like 3-4 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Classic.
I downloaded Just Cause 4.
Cool.
So yeah, I'll see how that game goes. I
think you'll like it.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I've heard a lot of people say it's kind of like Far Cry a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pretty adventure-y. Different cool shit, different vehicles, that type of thing. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for it.
And with Xbox news, they're making it so not right now, but in the US and the UK, so Canadians are like kind of left in the dark
Getting
right
fucked.
Now. But eventually it'll come here. If you own an Android phone or tablet, you'll be able to stream through an app.
Wow.
The Xbox. So if you go, all you need is your Xbox and a phone and a controller. You don't need like a TV or whatever. You can stream it to your phone or your tablet in the future.
Crazy.
Yeah, so it's like less things that you need. You know what I mean?
Wow. Just like any game on the Game Pass?
Any game that you have downloaded on your Xbox. Because you have to use your Xbox still.
Right.
But it'll just stream it to your tablet or whatever you have instead of having to do it to your TV.
Wow. You could technically play video games like on lunch or something like that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane. All you need is just Xbox Live.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, you need your Xbox as well.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, you need Xbox Live, your Xbox, and you can stream it. So
crazy.
Yeah, like sometimes when you go on trips, you can just bring your Xbox and you have your phone anyways, or you have your tablet anyways. You just play on that.
Or you could always stream, then put, link your phone to a TV or something like that too, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. Wow. Well, that's gonna knock Stadia out of the basically out of the park. You know what I mean?
Stadia will probably still have like a higher resolution and frames per second. So that's what they have going for them. Can't really beat Google on that right now.
Yeah, it's true. Well, Microsoft and Google are pretty chummy too. You know what I mean?
That's
so
true.
We'll see what happens. Wow, that's huge news, man. I can't wait for that. Very interesting. Because I was like even thinking, with how amount I played the Switch this year, like I didn't turn my Xbox on for a few months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was playing the Switch so much, I was having a ton of fun with that. And then if I wasn't on the Switch, I was on my PC a little bit, and then I was on my phone. You know what I mean? So this gives it a reason to really keep it viable for myself. Let alone and I was really thinking of Stadia too, but maybe I won't need Stadia now if I can get this. Crazy. We'll have a full breakdown on that when it comes out. Do they have release a date when Canada's gonna get it?
No, not yet. It's like beta testing in US and UK, I think it is.
Bastards.
So once they have all the little quirks worked out, then they'll start releasing it to other countries.
They better. All right. Well, I'm sure it'll happen quickly.
Yeah.
All right. Back by popular demand. Reviewing the reviews. Going back to America. And I think this was a great one to do. A place where you're really going to see a good mixture of drunks and psycho people in the morning. IHOP. You know what I mean? A place where you're going to see all different types. And we're going to do one in America. We're going to go right in the middle. Idaho. Going to do Idaho. IHOP in Idaho. Well done, Kelly. This one here has 3.8 stars, 814 reviews. Its Zomato is not very good either, I tell you what. Let's see here. Let's break it down here. A lot of people, even this guy's saying one of my favorite places to go. Weird. Very weird. Who says that about IHOP? But I love this one here. AO, 50 reviews, 151 photos, 1 star, very recently too, 1 week ago. We went on an afternoon and there was just one guy taken care of as host and waiter with just one cook. There was at least 15 people plus us. A family had been there for like 20 minutes and didn't even get their drinks yet. One guy had been trying to pay his bill for over 10 minutes. Is this guy like surveying the crowd? The hell's this guy's problem? You know what I mean? Put on an apron and help!
Yeah, the stopwatch on him.
I know. He's like, how long you been waiting? Hey, over there. How long you been waiting? Oh, okay. I'm just doing a review. A review. All right. 20 minutes over there. 30 minutes over there. All right. This review is going to be good. Some people finally had enough and walked out. Needless to say, that we followed suit. The employees were just doing what they could. Maybe they should start looking for better management. Thumbs down. I think they need better employees, not better management. Obviously, what happened here is it was probably a Saturday or a Sunday, and it's the afternoon. Probably everyone called in sick. You know what I mean? There was a big fight that weekend or something. That's what I would have done. I would have called in sick.
You make minimum wage.
Yeah, plus tips. Yeah, it's IHOP, people.
Good luck getting another job like this.
Oh, you've been in a job for minimum wage with no education? But that guy's hilarious, though, man. What a psycho. He gets 5 stars for just being a nut job. You really letting them have it. You know what I mean? It's not their fault, really. Everyone called in sick. That happens sometimes. But, hey, you see that sometimes you go into a place, you see the lineup, you see the place is huge, busy. Yeah. You walk out. That's normal. You walk out.
Yeah, you don't leave a 1-star review.
Yeah, exactly. To leave a review without even sitting down and eating, just for leaving a review because the place was too busy and there was no one working that day.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
And plus, it's like, waitressing and whatever you want to call it is gender neutral giving food. I don't know. It's a hard job, is what I'm saying.
Of course, yeah,
it's not an easy job for like minimum wage plus.
Of course, yeah.
Like fucking, they're gonna call
it. It sucks for that. Yeah, exactly. It sucks for that. Maybe they all had a party the day before. All the wait staff. I like this one. This one is just petty as shit. I just love this one. It is like the most petty way to give a 1-star review, and this is the only review too. AL. They one review, but they managed to put one hell of like a model agency photo as their photograph too. Look at this, Kelly. That's hilarious. They really spent a lot of time on their profile just to do this one bad review for these fine folks that exactly it does, doesn't it? Just called in for an order for pickup. Ordered 2 country fried steak breakfast meals, and they forgot the gravy on both of them.
I knew it. I knew one of them was going to say something about gravy. They forgot the biscuit.
There's one thing you don't forget. It's the fucking gravy at IHOP. But still, it's a breakfast place. I didn't, it's kind of weird that they would have gravy on it, I guess. Yeah. You know what I mean, for breakfast?
Yeah.
America? What's wrong, America? I think that's if you guys are eating gravy for breakfast, I think you may have a problem, America. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this. Don't get me wrong. As a man who loves poutine, and I love poutine, gravy is fine, but maybe for breakfast, you know what I mean? If you're having it breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you're having gravy, maybe I can see why you guys have an overweight problem. Sorry, America, I'm telling like it is. Statistics. Anywho, not a huge deal. I just don't understand how they forget to put gravy on it, as it's like the main part of the meal.
What? Gravy is the main part of a meal?
You really have that's what I'm saying. We've kind of opened something up here. I didn't know this, America. We have to have a talk. You sit down. America, we have to have a talk.
The sauce will never be the main part.
I know. This is awesome. This is fucking gold. I know gravy is the main part of the meal. Whew. Definitely won't be calling in for pickup anymore. So now the gravy was such a hot topic with this person that they won't actually be going in anymore because they messed up the order for gravy, which according to them is more important than steak. The gravy is the steak to them. The steak is the gravy. Man. Holy moly.
They'd rather have like lots of gravy with a little bit of steak and
why don't you just order fucking gravy with a spoon? Can I get gravy with a spoon, please?
Like yogurt. You just eat it like yogurt.
Gravy in a cup like hot chocolate? That could be a good idea. If you guys have such an obsession down there, just have a fucking gravy truck. That's all you do.
Gravy and pop for breakfast.
But maybe you could get away with doing poutine. That'd be the only thing you would serve as food other than gravy. Bowls, cups, gravy would be gravy on fries, which is poutine.
It's like a bowl of gravy with some fries in it. That's the American poutine.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, with shredded cheese on top or some shit like that. Doesn't count. I got a newsflash for it. It doesn't count.
It's like soup.
It's cheese fries with gravy.
It's a fry soup in gravy.
They may be onto something here. This is a good idea. Man. Few more here. 1 stars are everywhere. These are all right around the same time. A month, a week ago. Okay, I'm going to read this 5-star one, though, first. Just because the beginning of it. Look at the beginning of it, Kelly. That's just fucking hilarious. Makes no sense at all. RC, excuse me. 4 reviews, 5 months ago, 5 stars. We got there and was seated in a timely manner. After ordering our food, that is what took a longer time. Okay, hold on a second here. After ordering our food, that is what took a long time. But even though we had waited a long time, the waitress was very, very nice, and she even brought food to hold. America.
Man, it's like no periods or anything.
I know. Brought food to hold my son over the food we ordered was ready. Huh?
What?
I think what she's saying is that the waitress walked around with the kid or something, like held the kid and walked around with him.
Okay.
That's even more weird, though. Here you go, waitress. Here's my child, random waitress. You know what I mean? You can walk around with them. Who wants that? Once we had our food, it was great tasting, and we very much enjoyed ourselves. Wow.
That person was
Whew. I know, they were drunk. That was a tough one, RC. That took all my strength to get through that one. Whew, that was a rough one. Okay, this one's a good one too. Okay, I like this one. How are we sitting on time? Oh, we're doing good on time. We're doing great on time. This one here, JF. Five reviews, one photo. A lot of these people, either Idaho people don't get out, or these people just have written reviews of just one star just to get at IHOP here. They really got a thorn in their side. I love this one. I was about to start my morning day off with some nice breakfast at IHOP. When I entered the place, I had to wait before I got seated. I don't mind to wait, but after 20 minutes with no one coming to me and a big row behind me, I was done with it. Unbelievable. And that unbelievable that you let one waitress work on prime time. Prime time. It's gravy season. You got prime time. I left and went somewhere else. I would not consider anyone to visit this place unless you don't mind waiting hours. Yeah, that would be annoying if you go to an IHOP. It looks like this person was at the same time as that other person who had to wait. When was it? No, that was a week ago. Yeah, this person's saying the same thing though. Only one person there. Still, that's not really their fault. Still, another guy reviewing it on the wait and not getting to eat. Very odd, America. Oh my god, this one's hilarious. This one is hilarious. I'm gonna round it out with this one. Whoo, man, some people. There's another person bitching about having to wait a long time too. But this one's good. This one's fake as shit. DM, 5 reviews, 1 star a week ago. Absolutely disgusting. I got strawberry crepes and could taste 3 other people's meal along with it. Like, what does that even mean?
Exactly 3 other people.
I know, exactly. What does that even mean? Like, was it like bad cooking utensils or like the top, the stove top they cooked it on or something like that, I guess?
Saying it wasn't clean properly so they can taste like hash browns on their
but I think they have to have a special like crepe pan though, you know what I mean? I think it's a special thing. And then it also got super sick within minutes of eating here. Super sick. I don't know about that one. Super. I think that person's super crazy. It's IHOP too. It's like the fast food of breakfast, really.
Yeah.
You know, what are these people expecting? You know, just because you have to be seated to go somewhere doesn't mean it's gonna be top shelf food, people. I gotta tell you that. All right, America. Another thing we gotta have a talk about. Just because it kind of is like a restaurant, a sit down restaurant, doesn't mean you're gonna get good restaurant style food. It's like Boston pizza. It's like everything's prepackaged. You know what I mean? Everything's prepackaged. I don't think they have Boston pizza in the States, though.
You're probably better off going to like a diner if you want better food.
Basically, you are. Yeah, basically you are. Good call, Kelly. A mom and pop diner, you know what I mean? A lot of them, you know what I mean? A lot of the ones that also serve like, those ones that serve like burgers and Chinese food. Yeah. You know what I mean? Those ones. They're pretty good, actually. They have to. They always have the inspector there all the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? They don't fuck around.
And often they serve better quality food because they don't have to go from like a direct supplier that keeps feeding you like fucking fillers and shit.
Exactly, and what they're gonna have too is they're gonna have exactly that. They're gonna have fresh eggs.
Yeah. They're
gonna have fresh produce because it's just easier that way.
Yeah. Probably locally bought.
They did it though. IHOP in Idaho. Well done, Kelly. That could be a song. IHOP in Idaho.
Where there's only 2 people working.
It's a population problem in Idaho. I think they have really low population. Like Idaho and Montana.
Yeah.
Not a lot of population over there. See why? Your IHOPs suck. Everyone moves because the IHOPs suck. All right. Well, let's we'll break here for a brief moment, folks. We'll be right back to you after these brief messages. Double Dragon 2, The Revenge, is a story involving Billy and Jimmy Lee in a mission to avenge their girlfriend Maria's death after she was shot by the Black Warriors leader Willie. Check this game out today. December 1988. Better get your copy soon.
Terrifying aliens come from outer space to prey upon young children in one of the most terrifying stories ever told. E.T. the Extraterrestrial, coming at you in 1982.
Are you getting tired of regular old tap water?
Yep.
Try bubbly water. Carbonation and water have been great since 1602. How do the bubbles get in there? How do they stay in there? Carbonation.
Say what?
Carbonation. On shelves today, or you can buy that Soda Stream thing for a whole whack load. It's worth it.
I can't wait.
Welcome back, folks. Hope you enjoyed our messages and go grab yourself a cold, tall glass of water on the house. Tap water, that is. PFL UFC, but we get started with the crown jewel going down on Halloween. Like I said, as a dad, I had to take his kids out trick-or-treating. It sucked for me because I was out all day. You know what I mean? I had to avoid the internet all Thursday, Kelly. Couldn't go on the internet at all. I didn't want to get spoiled. So staying away from Facebook, staying away from the internet, nothing. Had a great time with my kids. We had a total blast. Huge haul. We did great. We killed it this Halloween. Totally killed it. But, I came home late, you know what I mean? And then I only got to watch a little bit of it. And then Friday was, you know what I mean? I had to avoid the internet again. You know what I mean? Because even though now it's the day after, I can't see any spoilers. And so I had to go through a whole nother work day without getting spoiled. It was tough. I can tell you this day and age, it was tough, but I did it. Going down in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It was absolutely amazing. Probably the most successful show they've obviously done in Saudi Arabia with these Saudi Arabia shows. Well, obviously with the exception of the post mortem that went down afterwards. I'll get to that later on. It was good to have the 20-man battle royale with Humberto Carrillo beating Eric Rowan. I really thought Eric Rowan should have won that. But Humberto, they're giving him a huge push right now. The cool part, though, Kelly, was the Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez match. It was really interesting, actually, how they made it like an MMA match a little bit. As far as pro wrestling goes, these are a perfect example of two dudes who are mixed martial artists and pro wrestlers now, with Cain Velasquez being the greener of the two. They made it look really good. I was so impressed, man, Kelly, how they made it look a little bit like an MMA fight and a little bit like a wrestling match. With the way they would clinch up against the turnbuckle, the way they were clinching up against the ropes, the way they were throwing punches. I was very impressed with both their work on this one. But Brock Lesnar wins, Kelly. Brock Lesnar wins with the Kimura. Wins with the Kimura. So
just like in real life.
Just like in real. Obviously, it was fake. Obviously, it was super. But the match was 2 minutes long. It was 2 minutes long, and it's like, they're doing tussling, their leg kicking. It was interesting. But then Brock Lesnar got knocked down, and Kane is like trying to punch his face, but Brock is pushing him away with his legs, and Kane punches him in the gut a few times, and then he somehow falls into the Kimura. You know what I mean? Obviously, that part was a work, right? But he falls into the Kimura and quickly taps out, and then he starts beating him up with a chair. So he's beating up Cain Velasquez with a chair after that, and then Rey Mysterio comes in and saves Cain Velasquez, starts beating him up with a chair. So it was very interesting, very interesting. A short match, and to make Brock Lesnar win, it was kind of odd.
Do the wrestling fans appreciate the mixed martial art aspect of it, or do you think they're like, "What the fuck is this?"
Good question. As I'm both fans though, right? I mean, I'm a bit of maybe a different person than the most. I see you're saying like the WWE fan, the wrestling fan that hates MMA. Was he upset by it? I don't really know. I'm not hearing much about it just because there's a lot of other talk going on about this show, about what happened on this show, but I'm not hearing much of it. You know what I mean? I wasn't going looking for it, but from people I know that like wrestling, really enjoyed it. But it was 2 minutes too, right? I think that's the shittiest thing. I think is that a lot of people are like, what? It was 2 minutes. The OC, my guys winning, my favorite tag team in the WWE, winning the greatest tag team in the World Cup. That was nice. That was really cool for them, for the OC to get Gallows and Anderson to win that. That's really cool. Tyson Fury beats Braun Strowman too as well. Tyson Fury winning his match. Like I said, he actually looked pretty damn good. He took some good bumps. He took Braun Strowman's finisher. Like, this Braun Strowman is massive, Kelly. Braun Strowman's like 380 pounds, like 6'5". He's huge. He's gigantic. He's just like this huge mountain of a man. He took his finisher at the end. So what had happened is they actually had a pretty good match, back and forth, punching and doing wrestling moves. I give it to Tyson Fury. He didn't look terrible. He didn't look stiff, is what they call it. He didn't look stiff at all. It looks like he had done some practicing. Obviously, you're a millionaire. I'd build a fucking wrestling ring in my room, in my house, and fuck around with it all the time. I would totally do that. That'd be the first thing I would do. So I'm sure that's what he had done, because he was good on the ropes. He was good with the bumps. He was good with the falls. But how the match concluded was Braun Strowman was getting back into the ring, and Tyson Fury just cold-cocked him right in the face. And it was good. And he fell out of the ring, got knocked out for a 10 count. So he tried to get back up and stumbled in and he got a 10 count. But Tyson Fury's celebrating, and Braun Strowman picks him up and does his power slam. It's like a huge power slam, a 380-pound dude picking up a 265-pound dude that's 6'8", and then slamming him down. Yeah. You know what I mean? That move could hurt. That move is going to be bumping you a little bit. You know what I mean? No matter who you are. And Tyson Fury took it and got back up. And he's like, what are you? He's like, you want more? You know what I mean? I really give it to Tyson Fury. He sold it really well. I was very impressed by him. And $15 million well spent. The one thing I got to say about the show is the crowd was really good. The crowd was really good. They had more people in it, like on the ground floor, which, like, usually, Kelly, these events, the floor is like reserved for only the royalty. They have like these massive armchairs that people sit in, and there's reserved for royalty. But this time it was actual normal floor seating, just the little plastic chairs with a little bit of padding on them. You know what I mean? But there was a ton of people. It was jam-packed. The stadium was huge. It was fucking gigantic. I think it was actually the same stadium that when UFC went to Saudi Arabia a long time ago. I think I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it's actually the same stadium. And then the biggest talk, though, obviously I got to give them their dues. The biggest talk, and it was fucking crazy, man. Natalya taking on Lacey Evans and winning that match. That was fucking nuts. That was the craziest thing, to see women come down, perform in a country where that's illegal. You can't do that. And that is what I have been saying about these cards since day one. All the haters out there saying, the atrocities that go on in these countries, it's well documented. But these events aren't about that. They're not about what they've done. They're not about what they will do. They're about going there and putting on entertainment so people can forget about that shit. So people can turn off reality and enjoy a spectacle, go see an event, and enjoy themselves with their brothers beside them, high five people. Doesn't matter where you're from. You're all there for one reason, and that's to see somebody get body slammed and have silly storylines and bullshit like that. And that's exactly what we saw here. The WWE is making a difference, and that's what I said since day one of these events. Everyone's hating on these events, that they shouldn't be going here, shouldn't be going here. And I had seen it in the beginning that this was how you do change. And the WWE, to go over there and to have this match, this has never happened before in the country, Kelly. Their women do not get to perform in this country, especially in a spectacle like this. Some of these countries, they're not even allowed to go into an arena. You know what I mean? They can't even go into an arena. It's illegal. You know what I mean? But they have an event where two women perform. They were both in like bodysuits, like black bodysuits, whatever. You know what I mean? They still, you know what I mean? They went in there, they performed, they had fun, showing all the girls in the crowd, showing all the women in the crowd during this match too. That was something I hadn't seen in these other Saudi Arabian shows, was the amount of women that were there. And you know what I mean? That is the biggest thing, is now a little girl, and I can 100% guarantee it. There was a lot of little girls in that crowd, and there's going to be a little kid, a little girl, 5 years old, something like that, and seeing this and thinking, I can do it too. I can change the world. I don't have to be confined to what my government and my society says I have to do, that I have a voice. I can perform. I can do this too. I can go out there and I got something in my eye during that match. I can tell you that much, man. It was fucking intense, and it was nuts. Good match, monumental match. You could see it in Natty's eyes too. And Natalia at the beginning of the match, she definitely was about to cry. She had to fight everything in her to not cry, and it was a really good match too, and historic. That's what's the craziest thing. A wrestling promotion, Kelly, is going over to this country that has super strict laws towards women and changing the laws. A wrestling company is doing that. No one else is doing it. You know what I mean? That's fucked up. I just wanted to touch base on that. It was a crazy, crazy moment in the history of WWE, in the history of the fucking world. Is going over there and doing it.
It's kind of like how Dennis Rodman was the one who fixed things with North Korea.
Exactly the same. Kelly.
Took a basketball star.
Yep. Oh, it was good though. Team Hogan beating Team Flair wasn't a terrible match. It seemed like it was a bit rushed or something like that, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. And then The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, winning the championship and defeating Seth Rollins in a match could not be stopped for any reason match. The one thing I didn't like about it is the nose selling. I like The Fiend. I like Bray Wyatt. I just don't like this whole hitting him with 10 finishers and he still gets back up. I know they're trying to make him like The Undertaker. They're trying to make him like another being that he's inhuman. I understand that, but it's just like, then don't hit him with 100 finishers. It really cheapens the sport, and it cheapens Bray Wyatt a little bit. Because now, what are you going to take to beat him? Is it going to do finishers the whole match, or what's going to happen in a matchup now moving forward? Then if he does get finished by a normal finisher, it's going to seem weak. I just didn't like the move by the WWE to do that, to go with it. I know the direction they were going with it, but I just didn't like it that much. But that was the shitty thing, is they've kind of, I didn't really like the match that much, and it didn't really do that much for me. It was okay. It has moments, but I don't know, maybe it just was a bit cheapened from all the finishers. At the end of it, I was kind of getting a little sick and tired of it, to tell you the truth. But the big talk, obviously, that's kind of overshadowing most of this event is that most of the WWE wrestlers, Kelly, got stuck in Saudi Arabia. They couldn't get back. There was something wrong with the plane. Yeah, there was something wrong with the plane. And that's what's crazy about having the event on a Thursday. The event's on a Thursday, and a lot of those superstars had to perform on Friday in Buffalo, New York. So they couldn't make the flight. A lot of them didn't make it back. Brock did, because Brock got a private jet. You know what I mean? Brock got flown back because he was a big part of the storyline for Friday SmackDown. Yeah. So he got, preferential treatment. But a lot of dudes got preferential treatment, but a lot of dudes had to spend a whole day in the Saudi Arabian airport.
That'd be scary.
That'd be odd, wouldn't it?
Yeah, just being in a different country overnight would be scary in the airport.
Exactly. A country with some very strict rules, too, you know what I mean? And you have to stay in the airport.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And you're a guy who's like, average dude weighs like 260, you know what I mean? And you're like above, 6'4", you know what I mean? It's, smaller people over there. It's not going to be a lot of stuff to accommodate you when you're that huge. But, that's the kind of the thing that is overshadowing this whole thing, and a lot of wrestlers are pissed too. That's what's crazy. A lot of the wrestlers are pissed, saying, "I'm never going back to Saudi Arabia again. That sucked." And how the WWE handled it. WWE was just like, "Well, here's your next flight is tomorrow, and we're getting a few people are getting private jets, and see you later." You know what I mean? So a lot of people, obviously, they knew the pecking order, and they got left on the shit end of the stick of this pecking order, and got stuck in Saudi Arabia for a full day at the airport. You know what I mean? When they really didn't want to get on a flight that's going to be like 20 hours before you get home too, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. But I think obviously the shitty thing is they were stuck on the tarmac for 6 hours. Anytime that happens, you're going to get some grumpy people. And I think that's what we're hearing. People were stuck in the seats for 6 hours only to get off your plane. That's going to piss anybody off. It doesn't matter who you are. That sucks.
I'd be like, oh my God, this fucking sucks. And then someone would like arrest me for like...
Yeah, exactly.
a broken law.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You get arrested for swearing. 25 years. Swearing's a big deal over there. Let's break it down. PFL 9. PFL Playoffs 3. The final before their finale. Was seeing some heavyweights going down here. The main fight was, Alex Nicholson really not winning his fight, losing a decision. Didn't look great in his fight. He was really touted to be going to the end, but I think it was Vinny Mahalays. Yeah, Vinny Mahalays totally getting knocked out in 2 minutes 45 seconds against Rashid Yusupov. Crazy knockout. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Jared Rosholt really went in doing good. I mean, he must have had some kind of injury or something, though, because he did not go to the final. Satoshi Ishii losing as well. Not really, a guy going from dream, to rising and just really never being that great of an MMA fighter. Satoshi Ishii losing again and trying to get some steam in PFL. Did not get it done. PFL, though, like, how are they keeping the doors open? These shows kind of suck. You know what I mean? It's kind of odd. I don't know. The year-end show is really the only good one that they really can put on. But honestly, their shows are not that good. PFL, step your game up. Because, you got Bellator, you got Ryzen, and then you got, like, PFL, who no one really wants to play with.
Yeah.
That brings us to UFC 244. Masvidal versus Diaz. Live from Madison Square Gardens, New York. What a card. Really good card. I really, really enjoyed it. All the fights were really great, with obviously the exception of the main event. Hakeem Dawodu getting a tough one against Julio Arce. I called it. I knew this Julio Arce guy. He is tough. You got to watch out for him. Very tough fighter, and he takes the decision. But that just shows the grit of Dawodu, that he could go the distance against a very tough dude, a very well-rounded fighter in Julio Arce, and takes the win. That's the important thing at the end of the day. You get the W. Lyman Good beat the shit out of Chance Recountree. The homeboy guy, Lyman Good from New York. Really I had Chance going to win that one too. Chance Recountree was coming in with such a win streak going into this fight, and he got the shit kicked out of him right from the bell to bell. And basically at the end, his face was so beaten up. How he could have taken all that, but goes down, and Lyman Good taking a win, a big win in his hometown. Andrei Arlovsky's obviously his kind of number has been up for a long time, but I think really is what we're seeing these dudes do is rush him, and that's what we saw here with Jairzinho Rosenstruck. Really, you just got to rush Arlovsky, and hopefully you tag him before he tags you, and that's what we saw here. You can't let Arlovsky's such a great endurance fighter for MMA, and he got tagged, he got hit hard 2 times, and that's what did him. That's what did him in on us. Obviously, I think he looked okay though. You know what I mean? With the way he got knocked out, as opposed to sometimes Kelly, he gets like totally like dummied knocked out. Like where he's like, you know what I mean, like one eye looking in one direction, one eye and totally out of it. He at least was still getting up. So it wasn't his worst knockout, and I think we'll still see as much of Arlovsky as he wants to really at this point. Edmund Shabaizin really KOing Brad Tavares. That's a tough dude to KO too, getting the huge knockout. He really got the posterizing win on that one. A really good knockout. But Shane Burgos, man, that was a good fight. Really putting it on to Marquand Americani. Really good fight. Those dudes just kept on swinging. They were not giving up. And Shane Burgos just was too much for Marquand in the end there. He just was really, both dudes were pretty tired come the third round. And but he just couldn't take any more of the punishment. Really landing some good punches, good kicks. Shane Burgos, very, very tough dude. And really calling out a lot of people on that one too. Kind of going to cause some troubles for 145ers. Oh, and that brings us to Corey Overtime Anderson getting the huge TKO win over Johnny Walker. And my whole thing on this one, Kelly, like Johnny Walker coming in right off the bat, like he was all week, he was just saying, I'm going to go the distance. Everyone thinks I'm just some flashy guy. I'm going to go the distance this time. You know what I mean? And it was the dumbest fucking move, because you could see, even though he said all this shit all week, you'd think he would have went the other way with it and just fucking went balls to the wall against the guy like he normally does.
Yeah.
He's not even throwing punches. He's like trying to go the decision, and that's the dumbest move you could ever make. Why the fuck would you try to go for a decision, especially with that? You still got to throw punches. And that's what we saw here is Corey Anderson coming in, with really a lot of feints and Johnny Walker coming in to just defend and not throw punches and not even counter punch. And that was the dumbest move. And he gets smucked. Corey Anderson watching the tape and just smucking him super hard and not letting up, landing some great follow-up shots also on the button. His aim after he wobbled him was what really put him down. If he could have weathered that storm and missed a few of his shots afterwards, I think Johnny Walker could have came back. But Corey Anderson just landed a few too many shots right on the chin. Dumb move by Johnny Walker. Really dumb move. But what the fucked up thing about this, Kelly, is Dana White's actually pissed off at Corey Anderson. I guess Corey Anderson was really, acting a fool during the week and acting a fool after the week, that he's being counted out and this and that. And he's, it's like, no one's saying that. You're here to fight. You know what I mean? And Corey Anderson may be losing his cool a little bit. What do you make of that fight, Kelly?
Not much. Pretty much just knocked him out. I think, like you said, if Johnny Walker was actually throwing back, would have been a different fight altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as he got tagged, he was just in defense mode and just kept getting tagged.
Dumb move. That's all I gotta say. A guy who really got into his own head, I think, a little bit, and you can't really call your shot against this. Corey Anderson's a game veteran. That's just a fucking stupid move. Somebody in his camp should have been like, just go out there and do what you do best. Don't try to be something you're not. You know what I mean? Should have went out there and just did what he does best. Throw kicks, throw crazy punches, and throw elbows and shit. And knees, but dumb move. Another crazy knockout, though, was Kevin Lee posterizing Gregor Giuseppe. Man, did you see that one, Kelly?
Oh, man, I thought he was dead.
So a lot of people did, because he got knocked out right in front of the commentator crew. Yeah. You know what I mean? But what a way, you know what I mean? A dude who was very undefeated and just manhandled everyone he took. But, when you got on the bad end of a hard kick, that was perfectly planted, you don't get much better of a perfectly planted kick right to the jaw. Knocked him out fucking cold. At least, he did get up afterwards. He was okay. But he was knocked the fuck out. Huge win for Kevin Lee, back in 155, and even thanking Joe Rogan. What a dude Joe Rogan is. You know what I mean? To have been the dude to give Kevin Lee the advice to say, hey, you know what I mean? You need a better coach. Go to the TriStar gym up in Canada, in Montreal, and they'll be the best thing for you. And here we see that. He was actually looking really good before that. His stand-up was really crisp, really on point. He was going in there with killer intent. And I really like that win by Kevin Lee, a dude who was kind of on the bubble. You know what I mean? He could have been fucking fighting for Bellator next week if he would have lost that match. And but no, man, keeping his paycheck with the UFC name on top of it. With that huge win over an undefeated dude. Gregor Giuseppe will be back, and I think this win will be great for him too. But a dude who needed a win and a win badly was Kevin Lee. Derek Lewis versus Blagoy Ivanov. I really like that one. Two heavyweights who aren't, I mean, let's be honest, they aren't in the best of looking shape, dudes. They're tough dudes. Kick the shit out of me, both of them, easily on my best day and on their worst day. But dudes got big guts. Let's but they put on a great show for 3 rounds. I really like this fight. I actually really enjoyed the split decision. Great. We saw it was a perfect mixed martial arts fight. And I think that's what we saw. We saw the strength, the power, the clinch game of Derek Lewis with his crazy looping punches. Everything that Derek Lewis throws is just mad crazy. His heat-seeking missiles, everything he throws is just great. And then we see Blagoy Ivanov with his great trips, his great Sambo background, and we see those great tosses and trips and side control and shit like that. Going for that Americana submission. It's like a reverse Kimura. Great moves, and it was a tough decision. I just, there's all those things of how you score it. Do you score the takedowns or do you score the punches landed? And how Blagoy lived through that. It was a tough one to call. I was glad I didn't want to be a judge on that one. Who did you have that one winning that one, Kelly?
I think Derek Lewis.
Yeah. I think you had to lean towards, because he did do the more damage with the punches. Where Blagoy really didn't. He got the takedowns, but I think when it comes to takedowns, if I were to judge them, and I think it's the way most wrestling guys judge them, you get based on a point system. If you can do the takedown and then hold them down and then control it, that takedown is obviously worth much more than a takedown where if you you took the guy down, but he gets right back up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those are two different takedowns, and if the guy gets right back up and you lose kind of control, that takedown still should be worth something, but obviously not as much as a takedown. I think it goes, is like a two points for that or 4 points. It's like in wrestling or in jiu-jitsu where, you got to go with like the ref is the guy who judges points on a takedown, right? And I think that's what, as the judge in this instance, you have to judge points on per takedown. And I think I think that at the end of the day, the right guy won the fight. And Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, another great decision. Vincent Luque, really, really good one. Really, really good one. Man, did Stephen Wonderboy Thompson turn back the clock on this one? Did he ever look crisp and fucking amazing? His punches, his combos, his ways getting in and out of there was absolutely spot on. But Luque didn't go out. He didn't go down. The third round he did, though. The third round he got the shit kicked out. But the first 2 rounds he really hung in there and had a hard time, obviously, with Thompson's just striking masterfulness. But he had his moments. He did have his moments where he had him on the ropes a little bit there, but just couldn't get enough done. And Stephen Wonderboy Thompson takes the decision very handily in that one. Looking really good again. I think he's in his 40s, for fuck's sakes. Let's take a look here. He's like 50-0 too. He's like 47-0 in like Kempo karate. That's nuts. That's a crazy stat. Oh, he's 36 only. What the hell am I talking about? Yeah. He's a little bit, just a little bit older than me. A little bit older than me. Born in 83. Old as shit. The guy's got a good record. 15-4 in the UFC. With 2 of those losses, coming to Tyron Woodley. Or sorry, one of them coming to Tyron Woodley, and one to Darren Till. That was a tough one too. That was a tough one for him to lose. Anthony Pettis too. He lost to Matt Brown at UFC 145. That's crazy, huh? Did not know that. That's weird.
Oh, Matt Brown's gritty.
At that time too, especially 2012, he was super good. He probably just ground him out and probably outworked him a little bit.
Yeah.
Great record by Wonderboy Thompson. Always, top 10 basically since day one of his UFC tenure. Great fighter. And, man, it keeps him in the top 10. Definitely, puts him right back in there. Another big name, he wins over top of, and boom. He's right back in there for the title shot again. What the hell's going on here? Good fight. I really like that one a lot. And then brings us to Darren Till versus Kevin Gastelum. Not as good. By this time, I was kind of getting a little tired of the decisions now. Yeah. And as far if you have to match up all of those fights, Lewis versus Ivanov, and then Thompson versus Luque, and then, Darren Till versus Kevin Gastelum, I think you have to rank that fight as the worst of the decisions, really. It wasn't that great. It was okay. Kevin Gastelum coming out saying, I was battling some demons, afterwards. I got some shit going on. It didn't look great. He didn't look like he was actually all in it. He looked like Darren Till was just gigantic for 185. How the fuck did this dude fight at 170, Kelly? You know what I mean? How did this guy fight at 170?
Yeah, but to be fair, it's against Gastelum.
True.
Gastelum should be at 170.
That's true.
He just refuses to lose weight.
That is true. Yeah, if you have to, one of the dudes who is one of the smaller 185s, if not the smallest 185, is Kevin Gastelum. He was not a huge 172, as you can see, Darren Till being even, way taller than him.
Yeah.
Just didn't impress me. I think Darren Till maybe came in a little bit too safe, and maybe Kevin Gastelum did too. 2 dudes who really, couldn't lose, for both guys, even though, especially for Darren Till. If Darren Till were to lose this one, that would have really made his stock plummet. And but we see him take the win. It wasn't great, but he did enough. He definitely won the fight, I think, in my books. I was a bit shocked by the split decision, but in my books, I had it all. I had every round Darren Till.
I think he's in a right to weight class now. As long as they don't feed him like Yo Romero or something that just like destroys his confidence.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 185 does need some talent right now, and I think it's a perfect fit for him, like you said, Kelly. But exactly that, they gotta do him right here. Giving him Kevin Gastelum was a bit odd to begin with.
Yeah.
But
maybe
for
they
Kevin,
just knew it was like a bad size matchup.
maybe. But who he fights next, the possibilities are endless. I can see maybe Derek Brunson. I think would be a good matchup for him. I think that that's a true gatekeeper of 185 is Derek Brunson, and I think if you beat Derek Brunson, then you can talk about the OLs, the Jacareys, obviously even Robert Whitaker. Really, even. That brings us to the main event of the evening. Jorge Gamebred Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. Shitty stoppage. Shitty stoppage. You know what I mean? We had The Rock coming out. The Rock coming out to his music. The place erupted is New York. Yeah. Man, Madison Square Garden. Wrestling is huge there. Wrestling is huge in New York. And for The Rock to come out in New York to his music, when the music hit, the place blew up. The place fucking blew up. So that amped it up. Just having The Rock come down with that BMF belt, that got the place hyped up even more.
Yeah.
And then that was a crazy part. There was actually a lot of booing during the Darren Till and Kevin Gastelum fight. There was a ton of booing. At the end, he's like, fuck the haters. He's like, fuck you for, booing me and this and that. You know what I mean? But man, we got disappointed here. Masvidal coming in the first round, really tagging Nate. Man, you couldn't. Same with the Gregor Giuseppe kick. This kick was right on the button. How Nate took that punch. To take the elbow, the punch, and then he ducks down and gets kicked, toe punted right in the fucking face, but does not go down like a bitch. The best thing I loved about this was the beginning when they were, interviewing them both, talking about Nate, because this is the BMF, the baddest motherfucker belt, and, talking about being a warrior, and this Nate's like, he's like, some people don't got it. He's like, I want to be jumping out of a tree, fucking ninja kicking people and shit. That's exactly what I want to be jumping out of a tree and ninja kicking people and some shit. You know what I mean? People being a warrior, and that's what these dudes are, fucking warriors. The toughest of the tough at 170, and second round we see much more of the same. Maybe, Nate landing a few, but really Jorge, really not getting any terrible trouble, always having a smile on his face. Even when he was getting tagged a little bit there, lit up a little bit by Nate, but Nate was not going down. And we see, unfortunately, come the third round, Nate, is so beat up, his face is so bloodied. He just, once again, we're seeing a bit more of it. Easily 3 rounds to Jorge, if not that first round was a 10-8 round, potentially, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. With the amount of damage he took, it was easily going to be Jorge's win. He would have had to get knocked out or choked out. Yeah. But unfortunately, that was a terrible stoppage by the doctor. Doctor stopping this fight when it was still in it. Was it a bad cut? Yes. Have I seen worse? Way worse. And I've seen way worse with dudes that can get to continue to fight. It wasn't that gaping open cut yet. It wasn't there yet. And for the ref to stop it, Nate even saying, "No, I'm still good. I'm good." You know what I mean? The cut over his eye, the cut under his eye, he was hurt. But this dude was far too tough to go down. And my hat goes off to him. Any way you slice it, it is still nothing. It's almost like a wrestling match where he's still been proven to be that badass dude. The doctor had to come in and stop the fucking fight. You know what I mean? Yeah. It almost helps for his legend a little bit. You know what I mean? For these guys for him to go out on a shield at least. Do they have a rematch though, Kelly? In your eyes, do you think they should have a rematch?
I think Dana does the George Masvidal versus Conor McGregor fight first. I think it's going to make more money, and then I think they might have a rematch with Nate, whoever wins that fight.
I like that. Yeah, do it down the road. Let these guys go their ways. I totally agree with that. Let these guys go their way. Jorge is lights out. You know what I mean? He is something special. He really is. You know what I mean? To go from his viral movement with, against Leon Edwards, that kind of put him there. He knocks out Darren Till, which was a huge knockout onto itself. You know what I mean? And then backstage during that same event, Leon Edwards is talking shit about him. He goes over to confront Leon Edwards, but he's like, I just wanted to talk to the guy about it. And then Leon Edwards puts his hands up. He's like, you're going to put your hands up. That means you're going to try to punch me. I'm going to punch you first. You know what I mean? So he gets that. The 3-piece in the Soto. You know what I mean? He gets that. Then he comes up against Ben Askren, which I thought was a bad fight. I thought, fuck, I don't want to fight Ben Askren. I think Ben Askren is just going to fucking hold him down. He gets the fastest knockout in UFC history. You know what I mean? Then people are really talking about it. That's even Jorge had said. You know, when people can share shit these days, anyone can share it, and it's 5 seconds. You don't got 5 seconds? You know what I mean? He's the Bowflex of MMA. He got 15 minutes a day. You know what I mean? And then to come into this matchup and really beat the fucking shit out of Nate. Nate got the shit kicked out of him. Nate didn't look like a bitch. He did fight, but only his toughness kept him alive. Jorge really tagged him every round. Jorge was the better fighter in all 3 of those rounds we saw. So to have him go up against the likes of Conor McGregor, you could see a classic match in the making of 2 stand-up dudes who are great, who have the intent, who have the skill, and who have that savvy to hang in the ring, to play with your opponent in the ring, and to put on one hell of a good show. I think it's perfect timing, like you said, to have that matchup. I think it does make sense now. I want to see Jorge get paid. That's my main thing, too, as I love the dude. I've loved him for such a long time. I want to see him get paid, and this would do it. He's already getting paid now. I can guarantee you with winning that belt, his stock skyrocketed. If it already wasn't high enough as it is, it just broke through the top of the chart. And this star is going to shine here and shine very bright. And it was just a shitty way for that fight to end, unfortunately, to go down the way it did. For how good the fight was going, too. Yeah. For how good the fight was going. Because I wouldn't have counted Nate out.
I would have loved to see how that fight ended, even though I think Nate would have lost in the end.
Yeah.
By decision. I would have loved to see how it turned out.
Yeah, for sure. If there's any dude who could turn it around somehow too, it could have been Nate Diaz catching a slick submission or something like that too. It could have easily. That's just the shitty thing. It was taken from us.
Yeah,
it was taken from us. And that's
so
the worst part about
it.
Yeah, big time. They
let down.
I kind of had a feeling that something like this was going to happen, but I thought maybe it was going to be more like a grappling match. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I was glad it didn't turn out. I'm glad the actual fighting was amazing. The actual fighting was absolutely amazing, and just sad to see it go down like that. But it was a good card. I did really enjoy it. It was an amazing card, and we got a few good ones coming down the pipe here with UFC Russia now main event being changed to Magomed Sharapov versus Cater for the main event. It's kind of weird. Blakovic versus Jacare in Brazil. Another ESPN card is going to be yet to be announced, and then in the end of November, and then we see UFC 245. Just over a month away. Yeah, fuck, we're in November already. Just over a month away. We're going to see Usman versus Covington and those 3 title bouts going down. So I'm really excited. Really excited to see how this all turns out. But what a great weekend I had. Tons of stuff I had to watch, and video games aplenty. Life is good. Just want to give a special shout out to everyone listening. We had one hell of a storm this week of people tuning in. Or last week's episode, I should say. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you're new to the show, welcome aboard. Wackiness always ensues. Especially with, reviewing the reviews. Hit us up on Twitter with what you like. Video games, different shit. At and new podcast on Twitter. Hit up Kelly if you want to play some Apex with him. Just shoot him a message first, folks.
That's right.
Dick pics are accepted. I don't think you can send pictures on Xbox, can you?
I think you can.
Oh.
I'm not sure.
I'm just lucky.
I think screenshots maybe.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'd be hard to get your wang in a screenshot.
I hope so.
You'll try?
No. I hope it's difficult for them to send that.
Oh, but a special shout out to everyone tuning in every week. I love you all. And continue on this train. 1 year plus now, going strong. Every week's always an adventure and always fun. With that being said, though, for producer and co-host extraordinaire Kelly, my man, my name is Steven. You've been listening to the Ed New Podcast.